surprised I'm not dead after last night. That was embarrassing. That was pathetic. And I think what angers me, Teak, is that when I sit there at games, nothing will surprise me. Nothing should shock you. It's baseball, it's basketball, it's football, right? I've seen it all. We've all seen it all. But when I sat there last night after 1.5 hour rain delay, making my poor wife sit there, and the Mets had a 6-0 lead, and the place is rocking, and David Peterson got through the third inning, and now it's the fourth inning, and we're talking about God knows what. I'm like not even focused on the game. I'm talking to my wife about life because I'm chilled, because I'm relaxed.
Just feeling good about yourself.
Why wouldn't I?
6-0. David Peterson's going to give you 7. Maybe go 8 tonight.
Maybe. And even if he doesn't, they'll win this game. And when David Peterson took a giant number 2 all over the mound, specifically when he walked a guy named Nacho Alvarez and Nick Allen, who's a Met killer, back-to-back with a huge lead, that's when the fear started to get into my stomach. And what happened last night at Citi Field is why today, August 14th, 2025, this is the first time I can sit here, honestly look in your eyes and say, bro, I don't think they're making the playoffs.
What?
And I haven't felt that way all year, but...
Wow.
Wow? Is it really wow, though, Teak?
It's not,
Is it?
but it's just... It feels like there's been this assumption that at some point, because it's baseball, every team goes through something like this.
I've had that feeling, too, yes.
Unless you are the Milwaukee Brewers right now.
Right.
Just don't lose. And have, what are they, 27-4 since Independence Day? It's ridiculous how
they're due to lose this weekend against the Reds. Watch that happen.
Yeah, right. No chance. Well, maybe if you're the Mets.
Yes.
That's exactly what you're thinking because they're right on your heels now. But you always felt like eventually the guys who are supposed to be good are just going to be good. David Peterson, as the example for a Met pitcher who could go get some length, was going to start rubbing off on these other guys. But I think what has happened is that it's gone the other way. It's this malaise that is taking over this Met rotation is just slowly infecting everything about the Mets pitching staff. Everything, including the bullpen. Even Stanek was bad. Right? So you look at
Garrett.
Garrett was bad.
Who's usually been good.
Right. So it just feels like that there is a leadership void, or not even a leadership void, because that's the wrong way to put it, but a example that's going to drive everybody back to who they are. It's just not there.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you find it.
Yeah,
we've given so much love over the early part of this season to Jeremy Hefner, the pitching coach, and what he's been able to do, and the project with Clay Holmes, and it now feels like he's just lost and doesn't have an answer.
Well, I remember during the offseason when the Mets were making moves that on the surface you wouldn't agree with, like signing Frankie Montas or the risk of making Clay Holmes a starter.
Wait, who was that? Frankie who?
Frankie Montas.
Oh, that's right.
Or relying that David Peterson's last bunch of starts in the second half of the previous year was legit, or believing Sean Manaea's arm angle change was legit. I remember we used to say when the Mets and David Stearns would make these moves, this is a heat check moment. It's like a basketball comp. A guy's drilling a bunch of threes, and you know what happens. Then they take 30-footers. It's a heat check. And David Stearns' offseason was a heat check moment. How good is this pitching lab? We're about to find out. Well, here's what's going on in the middle of August. These 30-foot jumpers are not even hitting the rim.
Right.
Like the heat check has been a disaster because this pitching staff is a disaster.
Get some layups.
They need a layup. They need a drive to the basket. And right now, this pitching staff doesn't have a drive to the basket. And the reason why I'm panicking on August 14th, for some it'll be, you're such a typical New Yorker. You're freaking out over a cold streak. I'm not freaking out over a cold streak. I'm freaking out over the fact this team hasn't been good in months. And sometimes it takes you a while to accept what's around you. Right. We had the opposite last year. It took us a while to believe the Mets were any good. But eventually the sample size was too big. Like, this team has been bad for a while. This isn't new. This isn't a recent stretch. If you say that, you're ignoring reality. They haven't been good since June. They've been under 500 since late April. Late April. And so when you continue to be so inconsistent and find new ways to lose, one day it's the clutch hitting, the next day it's the bullpen, and most days it's the fact the starting pitching can't get past the fourth inning, there's just enough information, if you're being honest with yourselves, which I try to be as a sports fan, where I say, oh my God, they just may not be any good. And right now, the Mets are not a good team.
But it's hard to accept that the Mets aren't good given the amount of talent on the team. Like the names on the team, the guys who have been good over the courses of their careers, the money that they've spent on this team. It's hard to accept that. And so there has to be something else, right? There has to be some other way to correct or get everybody back and snapped into focus. And it's the ultimate leadership conundrum. Like, do you do nothing?
No, you know what it is?
Or do you go to the extreme and do
what's the extreme? There is no extreme.
DFA somebody.
What's that going to do?
Make an example of somebody.
I mean, they just sent Montas to the bullpen after a handful of starts.
Okay, but it didn't work.
No, but you know what they need? And unfortunately, there are guys who are capable of doing it, but it's what they need. Watching baseball my entire life, I love pitching, right? I love the great ace, the stud. The Mets need an ace to save them. They need somebody who every 5 days says, give me the baseball, I'm going to go 7 innings.
But that doesn't exist on this team right now.
That's the problem. That's what teams have. Like, they have that guy, and the Mets don't. Like, David Peterson's been the closest thing to that, and then what he gave you last night was inexcusable. Like, he's had a great year, and I don't want to erase his entire season, but last night, in the worst possible spot, in the worst possible moment, he you-know-whatted the bed. But what they need, and I think any struggling team needs this, is the ace, and they don't have it. They've got guys who've shown signs of being an ace. Kodai Senga has shown signs of being an ace.
Not lately.
But that's probably no one lately. Sean Manaea last year looked like an ace in the second half. And that's why I look towards tonight, because we could bemoan last night all day if you want. 888-808-1019. Here's what I look at. Kodai Senga, I'm a fan of yours. I'm going to this game tonight. My son is wearing your freaking jersey. It is time for Cody Senga, mainly because he's pitching tonight, to be the guy who says, enough. You can go 7 scoreless. I've seen you do it. The Mets need somebody to save them, and they need one of their top pitchers, and Senga and Manaea qualify as them, to stand up and pitch like they're capable of. And luckily enough, Senga's pitching tonight, and Manaea's pitching tomorrow. And they're capable of it. They haven't done it in a while, Teak. I understand it. That's what they need if they're going to turn the tide, because right now, this ship be sinking.
Right, that's obvious, what you're stating, what you're saying. Nobody's going to disagree with you. What's your belief that it's going to happen, though? That's the problem.
Well, my belief is based on what they've done in the distant past.
In the distant past?
Yeah.
But the current, like, present is what you need to worry about.
No, I know.
And so you can't have a lot of faith in it. And
well, I don't. I'm not saying I have faith. I'm telling you what they need.
And the other side of it is that come Saturday, you're going to be saying the same thing about, I just hope that this young kid, Noah McClain, he can figure it out.
Right.
That he's going to be great. It's his first time pitching in the majors. And so there is a desperation that has started to take over the New York Mets, at least from a pitching standpoint. I actually think their bats have been okay the last couple of games.
Well, at least in the first few innings, because last night they scored 6 runs early. What'd they do the rest of the game?
You put up that bit crooked of a number early. It's like, we're good, man. We're good. Like, I know we might have to score some more, but we're good right now. I'm not worried about the bats, as crazy as that might sound. The biggest issue for the last 3-4 weeks has been starting pitching. You just can't get depth. And now you're in a hope and pray, and God, I just got to keep my fingers crossed, my eyes closed, and want to peek through and say, this guy's going to get it done. I don't know if Sean Manaea is going to get it done or Kodai Senga. I certainly don't think Noah McClain's going to get it done.
Well, we don't know about Nolan McClain. I mean, this is going to be the one thing that can also really help is the infusion of youth. Sometimes that does work. And Nolan McClain has pitched really well at AAA. He has burst up here. He deserves to be here. He's not one of those prospects just because the Mets tell us he's a prospect.
Right.
He's the 37th best prospect in baseball. Like, he's a legitimate.
And he's proved it.
Yeah.
In the minors.
He's earned it.
But it's a different game.
I don't know. Absolutely. That's why I don't know what he's going to do, but he deserves to be here. And certainly him going out, though, in 5 scoreless innings on a Saturday afternoon could very well happen. Look, I don't have confidence. I'm not going to pretend I do. That's why I say to you, this is the first time all year I am deathly afraid they may miss the playoffs. I'm afraid of it. Deathly afraid of it. And the facts of what's happened over the last few months is why. Like, we're just creatures of reacting to what we've seen and then, okay, what do we think's going to happen next? And yeah, baseball can change on a dime, and I'm hoping that happens, especially with Senga and Manaea showing us what they're capable of doing. But the reality is this has been a bad team for 2 months and a mediocre team for 4 months. So I'm not confident it's going to change, but I know what has to happen. What has to happen is Cody Senga, who's making plenty of money, needs to be the guy he was in 2023.
Yeah.
He needs to be the guy he was even in the first half of this season, where at least he can give you 6 scoreless innings. They need that.
Right.
Sean Manaea needs to be the guy who parlayed a second half in a $25 million a year. They need him to be that guy. If that stuff doesn't happen, well, obviously I know the result. The result is they're not going to make the playoffs. And that is a disaster. You can't spend that.
Right.
That's a diabolical disaster if this team isn't in the playoffs. And good morning, they're only a game up on the Reds. And yesterday is an inexcusable or unexcusable?
Inexcusable.
An inexcusable kind of loss.
What was
and
that?
What so bothered me is I didn't see it coming. I don't think any of us did. I'm sitting there having a good old time. I got my arm around my wife. I'm scoring the game with the other hand. They're up 6-0. She made a joke, someday, hon, I'm going to learn baseball. Been together for 10 years. It made me laugh. And then all of a sudden, David Peterson's walking Nacho Alvarez. And then before you know it, he's out of the game. And Reed Garrett, who's been so good for the last month. I love Reed Garrett. All of a sudden, Reed Garrett comes in. And what does he do? I'm going to give up a base hit to Marcell Ozuna. I'm going to give up a grand slam to Michael Harris. Like, it was such a disaster on every level that I want to be the guy. I do. I want to be the guy that turns on that microphone, whether it's on the Rico or right here, and say, hey, don't worry, it's going to be fine. I can't do it because in my heart, I'm beaten. I'm like a beaten puppy.
Yeah.
Now, I'm such a beaten puppy. Guess where I'm going tonight? Citi Field to get beaten again.
Back to the kennel.
To get punched in the face again. But Met fans, tell me if I'm lying to you. I'm scared they're missing the playoffs. And that seemed like an impossibility a month ago.
Right.
And here we are. And what I'm saying ain't crazy.
No, I mean, the present comes quick. And when you don't have an answer, it goes really bad for you. I feel for like the Met fan, because when you think about baseball is a team sport, obviously, but it's such an individual sport, and especially the one place where the Mets are struggling right now, starting pitching, it is really an individual sport. I mean, I guess there's the battery with the catcher, but still, you have to. David Peterson, keep throwing strikes. Don't walk the bases loaded or whatever heck you're going to do in the fourth inning. Don't lose your sight of the strike zone. But in football, for instance, you can be off and you get picked up by your teammate.
Right.
Or you could just try harder. You can knock the crap out of the guy. It makes you feel better. In baseball, when you're lost like this, you're just lost, and there's nobody to save you.
Well,
that's what makes it so hard.
They got saved 2 nights earlier, and we didn't make as big of a deal about it because they won and because Pete broke the record, but they blew a lead the night before.
Good point.
And as Gary Cohn mentioned on the broadcast, I couldn't believe it when he said it, and I heard about it after the fact, and I'm still kind of getting my head through it, that the last 3 games the Mets have played, they have blown 5-run leads in all 3 games. They've lost 2 of them, won 1 of them. First time that has ever happened in the history of the franchise. So they're doing things that are crazy. But let me get to Senga real quick. And this is really, I think, the first time, at least for me, I'm looking at Kodai Senga, and I'm saying, bro, the pressure's on. Because the reality is, in 2023, he had a great year. The team stunk. He was one of the rare bright spots. Last year, he barely pitched, and I think we were all confused that he was even being used as an opener come postseason time. This season, and I don't want anyone to forget this because this is really important. This is why, to me, Kodai Senga, this is your night. This is your time, big boy. After his first 2 starts of the year, he's now back. He's pitching. 7 scoreless innings. 5 2/3 scoreless innings. 6 innings, 2 runs. He had 1 start against Arizona through 1,000,000 pitches, 4 innings, but 1 run. After that, 6 scoreless, 5 2/3, 0 earned runs, 6 innings, 3 runs, 5 1/3 run 1, 6 1/3 2 runs, 6 innings, 1 run. He was going at least pitching into the 6th inning in every start. And by the way, that's not that high of a bar. No. But for this rotation, it's a monstrous bar. He can do it. Kodai Senga is capable of going out there tonight and just getting the baseball to Tyler Rogers in the 6th inning. I'm not asking for 8 innings. That'd be great. I'm not even asking for 7. I'm looking at Senga's track record from this year before he went on the IL. He is capable of it, and it has to happen. Like, yeah, I'm going to put the pressure on Kodai Senga. I like him. I like him more than most. Enough. Because I don't think he's faced any heat around here. We've just all accepted, well, everything needs to be perfect with his mechanics. His last few starts off the IL, 4 innings, 3 innings, 4 innings, 4 innings. Don't worry. Now's the time, bro. You've gone out and you've made 5 starts since coming off the injured list. And we haven't seen the real Cody Senga. Where the hell are you? I need Cody Senga. I need the real Cody Senga. The one from the first half and the one from 2023. I know it exists. I know he's capable of it. And there is no team in baseball that needs that kind of performance more than the New York Mets tonight. So, Kodai, it's your day, big boy.
Yeah. You're saying a lot. You're wishing a lot.
Wishing a lot. He's done it, Teak. I just gave you the numbers.
But he hasn't done it lately. What have you done for me lately? Because that's what I believe you're going to be. That's what I believe that he's going to unfortunately be for this Mets team. And you're going to tax the bullpen once again. And ultimately, this feels like just the same thing over and over and over again. I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying about Cody Senga or whoever is starting. It's hard to believe it. It's hard to trust it. I'm not a Met fan. I don't trust it.
I don't trust it either, but they need it.
True.
We'll get to your calls next, 888-808-1019. And the New York Yankees lost a game. They did win a series, but because it's the Twins and because it's a top pitcher and because Aaron Boone did something that pissed Yankee fans off, last night was not a good night for the Yankees. We'll get into if Aaron Boone really cost them the game. Your calls on the Mets, the Yankees. We'll get to some football later on. And in the next hour and a half, Knicks fans, you're going to know your entire schedule.